A lot of my friends who are down here as well for tax purposes, they bounced. They're back at their second homes. They're gone.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is my problem. This is a topic I've been very quiet about for a long time, but this video was the confirmation I needed to hear. Folks will come here to live in Puerto Rico, live la vida loca, and live for their wallet's best interest. In times like these, right now, during a hurricane, they leave. And then they wonder why a lot of people give them for it. Because they are living here for their own benefit. And when times are not beneficial to them, they fly like a flock of pigeons. I live here. I love here. Because I am here. Everybody wants to live in Puerto Rico until it's time to live in Puerto Rico. For those who are living here with tax purposes and you took a quick flight back home, don't get mad when you hear, go home. Stay home.
I love that video because as Puerto Rico is still just reeling from being hit by Hurricane Fiona, like we know what's been happening over the past few years, the past decade. We're just 5 years out from Hurricane Maria, and you have these people who they as individuals, corporations, have effectively created the society they want there that is not resilient in the way it needs to be for the actual people who live there, and then they can just leave as soon as they want. When a hurricane's coming in, they know they should leave because, again, the resiliency isn't there. The money isn't going to be there. The recovery is going to be artificially made slow by the choices made by corporations and their control over the government. And they can just flee. They can just run, leaving people in terrible situations. And it is a terrible situation right now. Nearly 1.5 million utility customers don't have power as of this morning. 196,000 people don't have potable water. Over 1,000 evacuees have been moved to storm shelters, and 1 in 5 cell phone towers inoperable. And so, by the way, since it has hit Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic has now been hit. The damage there has been described as catastrophic. And there has been some attention on this. Biden is declaring an emergency, and that's good. We'll see about the resources to follow it. But I don't know, Francesca, I feel like it's so important to place the disaster right now and what the recovery is going to look like in the context of the choices that have been made. The choices made for the people of Puerto Rico, not made by the people of Puerto Rico.
Absolutely. And I love that video as well. I think that's excellent, pointing out the discrepancy in who can leave and also who has like a generator. Obviously, big hotels or luxury condos and places that have been displacing and gentrifying Puerto Rico, even in the wake of things like Maria, right? Hurricane Maria. And, this is all Naomi Klein's disaster capitalism. You see it in Puerto Rico times 10 in terms of when there's a big disaster. What happens in the wake? Do we fix infrastructure? Is the new electrical company Luma, are they doing a bang up job? No. We'll see how quickly they get power back on. Anything's better, I assume, than the months it took for the old energy company to get back online. But then what happens is that people who have money come in and they've got their generators, they've got their solar energy. And that's the other thing that Klein, I'm going to just shout her out again, that Naomi Klein talks about, is how important it is to understand that actual solutions to climate catastrophe when it comes to what we can do, yes, alternative energy, but more specifically, these microgrids, decentralized energy, so that it's not all running through one place, i.e. one corporation that is gouging the people of Puerto Rico, to say nothing of the rest of, the United States in terms of, Texas, right, was paying, remember how they were paying exorbitant prices for their electricity when it was also out during that winter storm. When you democratize energy, when you have microgrids, they are more resilient to things like extreme weather, but then they're also far cheaper and more reliable. It's a win-win for everyone, except if you want to make money. Then there's nothing in it for you. So we're not going to get it.
Yeah, and look, and especially in a place that doesn't have unlimited resources, when there are scarce resources, you can choose them. You can choose to use them in terms of your infrastructure in a few different ways. You can set up services and infrastructure to benefit tourists, the wealthy, those sorts of things, knowing that if it fails, they'll be able to get out and they'll be perfectly fine. Or you can actually solve some of the systemic problems that you're talking about right there. The choice appears to have been made, and now when a hurricane hits, you see the effects of it. So that's sort of what we're dealing with right now. And by the way, literally as we're live, I'm trying to find updates on what's going on in the Dominican Republic. We haven't seen deaths being reported. The governor is saying that it's absolutely catastrophic, the damage that has already been done. By the way, lots of rain is still expected in Puerto Rico, literally talking about 15 to 30 inches of rain in some areas. So we'll see. Obviously, the news is lagging the situation on the ground a little bit, but just devastating to see this happening again just 5 years after Maria, which was absolutely terrible.